It's time for Baby and Toddler Instructions with host Blythe Lipman. Blythe is a nationally renowned infant and toddler expert who has over 30 years' experience helping moms and dads regain their sanity, teaching them how to survive, and giving them the confidence they need to be the best parents ever. From sleeping to crying to potty training to choosing a preschool and so much more. If you're a parent, Baby and Toddler Instructions is the show you've been looking for. Now here's your host, Blythe Lipman.
Well, good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you might be. Thanks so much for tuning in to Baby and Toddler Instructions today. I hope you are having a wonderful Wednesday so far. It is the beginning of the National Nurses Week starting today until the 12th. So yay to all the wonderful nurses that help everybody. And we have a very exciting show today. If you're listening live, you can always call us with questions at 877-864-4869. My guests today are going to be Connie Gruning from Peanut Butter and Wine. And if you're a listener, you know she's on the first Wednesday of every month to tell us this month what's hot and what's not in May and all her wonderful contests. I just love Connie. She has great reviews and great things on her site, Peanut Butter and Wine, WHINE.com. Then I'm going to welcome Jennifer Chung from Kinsights. It's an online pediatric health record keeper for your kids. Jennifer and I are going to be talking about the chaos of parenting and so much more. But first, there were a couple recalls. IKEA expand their recall of their crib mattresses due to the risk of entrapment, the Sultan and the Visa, and they recalled the crib mattresses a long time ago. Also, branded LLC Kaleidoscope toy was recalled. The end caps of the kaleidoscope can be removed and exposed. The small parts can come loose, and you know where they go, right in the kid's mouth, and they could cause a choking hazard. And also, the internal components can pose a risk of laceration. So if you have either one of those, call the companies. If you go to my website, mybestparentingadvice.com, everything is already on there. And I do keep my recalls up to date each week. So don't try to fix things yourself. Also, Baby Watch, my Baby Watch, the royal, she had her baby, but my Baby Watch, my daughter is still waiting to have her first baby, my first grandchild. I think I need to write an article for grandmas in waiting. Oh, my goodness. Every time the phone rings, I want to go. Do we go to the hospital now? So say a prayer because her due date's today. We want to see that baby out. Anyway, so that's it. For my news, I don't want to take up much more time away from Connie. Let me tell you about her. Connie Gruning from Peanut Butter and Wine, WHINE.com, is in Southern California. And you won't find a lot of negative on her blog. She believes in the power of positive thinking and tries to see the good in everyone and everything, and boy, does she. And you know what? Her site's terrific. She has over 11,000 Facebook followers, 12,000 Twitter followers, Google, Instagram, YouTube, Blog Love, and every single thing. Connie's great. She's the owner, and she has such wonderful things on her site. So, Connie, welcome in May. How are you?
Good morning. I'm great. I am a grandmother of 3, and you're going to love it. It's so much fun.
I can't wait.
You.
I can't wait. Say a prayer. This baby needs to come out like now.
Right.
Especially for my
Grandma
daughter.
wants to meet you.
I know, and my daughter's had enough. She had a rough pregnancy, and it's time. Time, baby. And also, her birthday is May 10th, which is also Mother's Day, and maybe that'll be her Mother's Day present.
Oh, that would be so sweet. That's my wedding anniversary.
So happy anniversary.
Yes. Okay, so today I have a really great one to tell you about for new moms, for experienced moms, for grandmas. It's the Okie Dog. Okie Dog. I don't know if I'm saying it right. I hope I am. It is a diaper bag, but it's a Trek backpack. This is the coolest diaper bag. I wish they'd have had this when my kids were little, because this is a diaper bag that is going to grow with you. It's not something that once the baby's out of diapers and out of the toddler stage of accidents, you're still going to use it, because you can I carry this thing around with me everywhere, even when I don't have 3-year-old Alice with me. It has so many pockets in it, so many places. It's got a place for a baby bottle. It's so that it stays warm. It's all lined. It also fits a sippy cup, so you're fine there. The front of the bag has a zippered pocket area that's set up for the mom. It's got a place for your phone, for your camera. It's got a latch system for your car keys. Everything fits in here. It zips all the way down so you can open it up and see what you're looking for. And it's got these other little pockets on the front. It's a deep pocket, goes all the way down to the bottom of the bag. It's perfect for, you could put toys in there. You can put whatever you needed in there. It's also got, on the inside, it's got more pockets and more pockets. It's got a place for your phone, for your wallet. It's got these I'm going to say it wrong here, these Clipix universal stroller attachments. So you can hook this up. You should watch the video about this little diaper bag. It has everything from the padded shoulder straps. It has the loops on the back of the bag so that you can attach them to your stroller and go. You can attach. This thing has so many great perks to it, and it's light. The only weight to this little diaper bag is what you put in it because it's light. It has everything else is included too, a little handy storage bag, which when I'm done using this for Alice, I'm going to use it for all of my power cords for my electronics. It only weighs 16.3 ounces for this entire bag.
That's amazing because I'm looking at it and I love the colors and these clips are amazing. I'm going to have to start going in 6 times a day and entering.
This one is, this is absolutely my favorite diaper bag. I have never, it's cute. It's got little stitching on the outside, little real embroidered. It's not something that's just ironed on. It's a real embroidered stitching. It's so pretty and it's huge. They've got other colors, and it's even got a little zipper pull that is a little kid, a little silver, looks like a little child, like an outline of a child. It's super cute, super, super cute.
And look at this one with the dots or flowers. How cute. To my listeners, if you're listening to a podcast, you can still go to peanutbutterandwine.com, WHINE, because Connie has these great things on her site always. And tell my listeners how they can enter to possibly get this.
Okay. Well, I don't have one to give away, but if the ladies over there at Okie Dog are listening, I'd be willing to host a giveaway. I do have things, though, that are for giveaways right now, like the Man Sham. This would be a great one for Dad. This one, I said in my article that this was the easiest I've ever cleaned my car, mostly because I handed it to my husband and said, here, go try this. So, and then I really, really helped him and sent out the 3-year-old to help. So
look at these pictures. Really this is so great. And there's only 2 days left, so go in and enter.
And the other one that you should really enter is the 2 pounds of goji berries. I had never heard of these before I tried them. And these are, apparently, in my family, I was the only one that hadn't. Goji berries they are the most nutrient-rich superfruit on Earth. They are packed with everything from B1 all the way to C and E. They have iron and selenium and calcium, and these are so good. My daughter makes little, she calls them, energy bomb bars, and these are good. They're good right out of the bag, but they're good for that energy boost that moms need. So enter for a 2-pound bag of that. To enter, it's super easy. If you go onto my site, you peanut butter and wine with it, wine, WHINE, and pick out the one that you would like to enter, like the diamond candle, which is a candle that has a diamond ring in it. It's either a value of $10 all the way to $5,000. I do that once a month for my followers. And if you click on the picture, it will take you straight to that blog post. Now, the ones that I do that I pay for out of my pocket, I do make you do 3 things, and that is, first, you get your free entry. All you have to do is hit the button that says click to begin, hit the green button, and inside the one for vote for on picket fence, that just lets me move up on that page so that I get more opportunities to post onto my blog.
And it
Once
only
you hit
takes a second. I have to ask you a question about these goji berries because I've had them, but of course they were covered with chocolate because they have them at Target with chocolate. Are they like raisins alone? You know, I was trying to figure out if they were like raisins or they were sour or sweet.
They're more like a craisin. They're more like it. They're a mix. They're chewy. They're chewier than a raisin. They're not, for me, they're not as tart as a craisin. So I think they're like a good mix right in there. They're a very unique taste. I love them straight out of the bag. I keep a little Ziploc baggie of them in my little backpack here.
Does Alice like them, your granddaughter? She's so cute.
Alice does
so
like
big.
them. Yes. So that's a good thing, too. You know, something that's good for her that's easy.
This recipe looks really good. Not a lot of ingredients and a lot of protein when you add the almonds and the walnuts if you like them. I guess you could add any kind of nuts if you wanted to.
Exactly. And these really are good. And she wraps them individually so that you can just grab and go, which is really nice. I really like that. She did a great job with this recipe.
That would be great. You know what? I'm going to have to try them without the chocolate, of course. Or maybe you could put chocolate in the bomb bars.
There you go. You could do that.
Then that would be really good.
I say we take the bomb bars and cover them in chocolate.
Okay, I think that's great. A new recipe.
There you go.
We're going to have to try that. Well, anyway, Mother's Day is coming and your anniversary, as you said. Any special plans?
No special plans. Actually, what am I saying? Yes, I do. I'm taking my husband to see Trace Adkins on Friday.
Oh, wow, fun.
A country western singer that we both really enjoy. So
yeehaw!
We will be,
what fun.
Yeah.
That will be great. Yeah. Well, Connie, I'm so excited you could be on the show today, and we're all on baby watch. I'll let you know and everybody else. And have a great anniversary, wonderful Mother's Day, and we will talk to you in June. I can't believe it will be June before we know. We just said that last month when it was April. My gosh, time flies.
Oh, my goodness. Well, I hope you have a baby by this afternoon. My prediction is 4 o'clock.
Okay, somebody listen who's in charge. Thanks a lot. Have a great Wednesday. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye.
We'll be right back with more Help My Baby Came Without Instructions. It's Baby and Toddler Instructions with Blythe Lipman on TogiNet. We'll be right back right after these.
Have you heard? The pages of American Patchwork and Quilting magazine come to life on our new weekly online radio show, American Patchwork and Quilting. Join Pat Sloan, our blogging and quilt designer host, as she talks about the latest trends, ideas, and inspirations. Her guests include quilt pattern designers, authors, quilt shop owners, and our editors, all quilters, just like you. Call in with your questions. Get quilting tips from industry experts. Learn about free patterns. Hear behind-the-scenes stories from our magazines, American Patchwork and Quilting, Quilt Sampler, and Quilts and More. Get the scoop on free stuff and find out more about the best independent quilt shops in North America. To listen to a live show, tune in Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern. Just log on to allpeoplequilt.com/radio. To hear past shows, go to iTunes and search for American Patchwork and Quilting Radio. We hope you'll join us because we know that quilting changes everything.
This is the TogiNet Radio Network, broadcasting quality programming to the world. This is Uncommon Sense for Leaders, a forum for exploring leadership from the intellect, the heart, and the spirit. Whether you're a leader now or aspire to be a leader in the future, you owe it to yourself to learn about the big ideas that have shaped the careers of compelling communicators, masters of influence, and highly effective leaders. Uncommon Sense for Leaders. Tune in to hear thought-provoking ideas on every aspect of leadership. You can expect dynamic discussions with special guests, quick tips you can apply immediately for better results, and the tools you need to take you from where you are to where you want to be as a leader. Are you ready to crack the code for achieving unprecedented results? Then join the host for Uncommon Sense for Leaders, Catherine Carlisi, every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on the All Business Radio Network.
Welcome back to Baby and Toddler Instructions with Blythe Lipman on TogiNet, the hour for all moms with little ones to come for great advice, encouragement, and great ideas for all new parents. Now, back to the show with Blythe Lipman.
Well, welcome back to Baby and Toddler Instructions. If you are listening live, I am going to welcome my guest, Jennifer Chung. For some reason, I want to keep calling you, Jennifer, I know you're there, Connie Chung. I guess because I had Connie Gruning on this show the first quarter. Anyway, if you're listening to a podcast, enjoy. You can't call us with questions, but you can go to mybestparentingadvice.com, my website, and you can contact me with questions via there. And also, I will put all of Jennifer's information on my website as well after the show. But let me tell you a little bit about her. She is a parenting expert and the co-founder of kinsights.com. It's a parent advice sharing community and online pediatric health record keeper. As a nationally syndicated parenting expert, Jennifer educates moms and dads on all kinds of topics: family bonding, way to balance your kids' social media, technology, potty training. Anyway, through founding Kinsights, I was going to say Connie again. Sorry, Jennifer Chung revolutionized.
I grew up with Connie Chung, like watching her on TV, so I don't mind the confusion. She's fantastic.
Anyway, you know what? I'm going to let you tell my listeners how all this started, because I was just looking at your site at the commercial. It's great. There's so much on there. It's wonderful. And I want to talk about parenting, and I want to talk about the health record keeper, because things get lost. And anyway, how did you ever get into this?
Yeah, so it was initially started by an MD PhD pediatrician, and she basically, saw parents coming into the office with, this files and files of information and an immunization card and slips of paper and little notes on their iPhone, and thought there just has to be a better way for parents to organize their child's health information. But the other end of it was, she noticed in pediatric appointments, and there are actually studies to validate this, that the vast majority of questions in a pediatric appointment are really non-medical. A lot of them are parenting questions, issues about behavioral issues, or thinking about some of the social issues with their kids. And a lot of that could be facilitated really well among parents. But the challenge is, and we've all done this, right? If you go online and you search for answers, and sometimes you end up in sort of a traditional sort of message board, there's a lot of noise and there's a lot of bad information. And so we really kind of took those two problems and said, how can we address those as a technology platform? And so what we do is we actually, when parents come on to Kinsights and they ask a question, we're actually doing some matchmaking on the back end and saying, who are parents in our community who have dealt with similar issues, who have kids of similar age, who've provided great advice on this type of topic before, and we invite them to come answer the question. And so what you're typically seeing are 4 or 5 really well-researched, high-quality answers to your question, rather than 20 or 30 comments from a bunch of people that you really feel no connection to. And then on the other end of that is we have a personal health record, which is pediatrics focused, and we help parents track their child's milestones, growth, weight, developmental milestones, all of their child's immunizations. They can keep track of every medication and long and short-term medical issue their child has. And they can actually share a read-only view of that record with their child's care team. So if they have a babysitter or a grandparent or a teacher that needs access to your child's health information, you're able to invite them in to actually get a view of the record, which is so important when you have other people looking after your kid and you think about sort of day-to-day medical care, but also those emergencies. And so that's really how the platform was built. I joined as their CEO and co-founder a little over a year and a half ago because I was actually a user of the site. So my son was dealing with eczema. He was 2.5 years old. I was very frustrated and ended up on Kinsights and was hooked. So I was on every night answering questions and asking questions. And, the original founders of the company emailed me, and we ended up connecting. And a month later, I ended up joining the team. So I am, my involvement with Kinsights is really rooted in my great experience as a parent on the platform.
I think it's brilliant because even now my children are grown up, and I keep talking about the fact that my daughter's going to have a baby any minute, I hope.
Yeah.
Will be any minute. And, I look back and think, well, what we were talking yesterday about, what was that doctor's name when we lived in Maine? What was the first pediatrician's name? And, you forget. You think you're going to remember all these things, but you don't because we're all busy and you can't remember every little thing. And especially when something comes up with your little one's health. It's like, wait a minute, can he take that or can she take that? And it's funny because my daughter had called her doctor yesterday with a question, and the first thing the medical assistant said to her is, get off the internet. So, because this story is not going to end well if you're on the internet. There's so many answers, and you really don't know who somebody is. And yes, everybody's experience is valuable, but you don't really know what to grab onto.
Yep. It's interesting because if you look on, everything from Yelp to Amazon, there's context behind the person who's writing a review, right? So, you are able to build a reputation as someone participating on any of those sites, but for some reason, that same concept just really didn't apply in parenting. And so, we wanted people who are answering questions in the community to know that their reputation as a community member is actually in play. So when someone answers your question, they are able to build a profile page where you can see all of the other answers they've written before and the content they've contributed. So you can also make a judgment and say, okay, this is a parent who clearly knows their stuff, who I trust, who I relate to, and what they've written as a recommendation really resonates with me.
How do you choose your parents? You said you're sort of like matching them up. How do you choose your parents? Does somebody say, I want to be part of Kinsights, or how does that work?
So any parent can sign up for Kinsights, and it's free. And, we are primarily parents, but we also have some grandparents on the site as well. But a lot of this sort of matchmaking happens using technology on the back end. And so when a parent asks a question, we use, not to get too technical, but we use something called natural language processing. And it means from a technology perspective, our system's able to look at that question and say, okay, what is this question probably about? It's about breastfeeding for a newborn. And then what we can do is say, who has answered types of questions about those topics that have gotten voted up by the community or that our pediatrician voted on, and we can say, okay, that's the subset of users that should be answering this similar type of question moving forward. And so the more people participate over the time, the more we're able to know on the back end what types of topics do they know a lot about that have been voted on and validated by the community.
So here's the question. I don't want to put you on the spot, but is one of the questions that you get all the time about not getting your kids to sleep, not getting the baby to sleep?
That is a big one, and it's interesting. There are questions about getting newborns to sleep, but it's funny, we have more questions about parents whose kids have gotten older and those sleep challenges persist, right? Like they have kids who are in elementary school or in preschool who, once they are able to jump out of bed and run into your room 100 times, in some ways that can be even tougher because you sort of have less control because your kid's not in a crib anymore. And so that is such a challenge for parents, and that question comes up a lot. The other interesting one is when parents have newborns and, the grandparents are in town, or my mother-in-law keeps interrupting the sleep schedule, or carrying the baby all day to sleep in her arms, and when she leaves, it's such a nightmare. So that often comes up. So family dynamics certainly come and play quite a bit.
That's pretty funny because I just did a blog post about that, about being the grandma, how to be the right kind of grandma and not meddle, because there's a fine line. There's a real fine line.
Yeah, we always talked about it, with my son, is that there was the 2-week recovery period after grandparents leave where, your kid's spoiled, used to getting everything they want, every piece of food that they'd be interested in, tons of candy, and then your grandparents leave and you sort of have to kind of get back into your regular routine, and it always takes a couple of weeks.
Oh, my gosh, it's like rehab.
It really is rehab. It's grandparent rehab. But, it's challenging because, on the other hand, you want, your kid to sort of see their grandparents as this safety zone that they can truly just enjoy being together. And you want the grandparents to be able to enjoy the experience of being with your child without you kind of looking over their shoulder the whole time. And so, I think for a lot of parents, they find that to be, a challenging balance because, they want a little bit of both. So I think as much as you can kind of compress that recovery time to maybe just a week, but also let your grandparents, the grandparents have a little free reign to just enjoy their grandkids. I think that balance, it's a hard one to achieve, but I think it's one that a lot of parents are looking for.
One of my favorite tips, if you do have grandparents and family in town and you're lucky enough to have that, I have always told new parents that from the beginning, set up some boundaries and make sure you give the grandparent, maybe Wednesday it's his or her day, or, the knocking at the door and dropping in is not okay. Grandparents out there, don't just show up. It's not a good idea at the beginning. And I'm talking, at the beginning, we're always also excited, but when that baby is first born, grandparents, like the parents, can't get enough. And to show up, sometimes they don't think, and they can't wait to be with this baby and their children. So don't show up. Hey, you know what? Don't show up.
That's great advice.
Because it's really interesting. We're going to have a break in just a little bit, but I have a lot to talk to you about. And, I want to talk about this chaos with parenting because, so many of us work and you come home from work and your little ones need you and they're cranky and they're tired and they're hungry and so are you. And I think a lot of times with moms and dads too, but it seems more to be the moms, that we don't stop for a minute and think about what can we do for ourselves so that we can better take care of our little ones that have been maybe at daycare all day, or even the older ones that are at school and, they have homework. So when we come back from the break, I want to talk all about that because I think, we all have our tips that work, and it's always so interesting to find out what somebody else did because a lot of times you'll say, oh, yeah, I never thought of that. That's a really good idea.
Yep. That is a challenge day to day.
It is a challenge. And, the older they get, yes, it gets easier. You don't have to drag the diaper bag and the diapers and the whole business. But you know what? Then it also gets a little tougher because the problems are a little bigger. And, I just always think about you see this all the time. Your child comes home from school, they're older, and you go, how was your day? And they go, fine.
Yep.
What happened today? Nothing. And you're sitting there and you're going, oh, well, do you have homework? Yep. That's while this is a baby and toddler show, that's what sort of comes with everybody. Anyway, we will be right back, so stay tuned.
We'll be right back with more help. For help, my baby came without instructions. It's Baby and Toddler Instructions with Blythe Lipman on TogiNet. We'll be right back right after these.
Welcome to Podcasting by Professionals. My name is Keith with Radio Links Broadcast Marketing, and I am here today to introduce you to 5 top industry pros who will teach you everything you need to know to start your own professional podcast. At the end of the course, we think you'll be well on your way to becoming an expert host of your own show. By the way, please do visit our website. It is podcastingbyprofessionals.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, tune in every Monday night during the debut episode of Paranoia, Texas at 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern, and you will get a chance to win some very cool prizes from McDonald's, Walmart, Geek World, Red Petal Salon, and so much more. All you have to do is listen for the cue, and when you hear this music, call in. That's every Monday night at 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern, and win those cool prizes.
Are you fascinated by the stories behind the stories, the people behind their masks, the truth about people's failures and redemptions in both their business and personal lives? Then Off the Record Secrets of with host Judy Schreiner is for you. It's people's secrets that make them interesting, but very few folks are willing to reveal them unless they trust that their information will be treated with accuracy, fairness, and respect. People have been entrusting their secrets to longtime business journalist Judy Schreiner for the last 25 years, and now she's bringing her expertise and impressive contact list. Tune in and call in as host Judy Schreiner talks to guests off the record as they reveal new secrets each Tuesday at noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central.
Welcome back to Baby and Toddler Instructions with Blythe Lipman on TogiNet, the hour for all moms with little ones to come for great advice, encouragement, and great ideas for all new parents. Now, back to the show with Blythe Lipman.
Well, welcome back to the show. I am here with my wonderful guest, Jennifer Chung. She is a parenting expert and the co-founder of Kinsights, which is just a fabulous site. If you're a parent, it's kinsights.com. You need to go look at it. I put some of her information on my website, mybestparentingadvice.com, at least the contact information. And once the podcast is available, if you're listening to a podcast, it's always on there, as well as all my other shows. And don't forget to listen to our other great shows on TogiNet. We have wonderful hosts and topics, just terrific. Anyway, before the break, we were talking. I was saying that when we come back, I want to talk a little bit about the chaos. You know, no matter how old your children are, when you come home from work, if you're a working mother, or even if you're not, you know what? How do you handle the chaos? We're tired. We're all humans. We get tired and cranky just like our kids do.
You know, it's really challenging, and I think there is sort of something to be said about embracing the chaos and just being really upfront with our kids, because I think if we try to control the chaos too much, you know, our kids, they're very perceptive, right? They can kind of see when we're anxious and we're not really listening because we're thinking so much about our to-do list and our schedule. And so, you know, I think a big part of it is like letting our kids like see us make mistakes and let loose a bit, because that's really how the real world works. For example, I am a very clumsy person and somewhat disorganized, and when I make a mistake, you know, my son and I laugh about it. And, you know, it helps him feel more comfortable sort of making and admitting to all those little mistakes that he makes every day. So I think that's a big piece of it, is sort of a frame of mind. You know, and I think, you know, as much as you can sort of say, you know, this is a day that is, whether it's a weekend, if you're, you know, you're a working parent, is saying this is a day that's unstructured. We're not going to have a schedule. Like, what do you want to do as a kid, or decide as a family what you want to do, and sort of say, let's not worry about errands and our to-do list today. I think for kids, like knowing that they have one day a week where they're able to do that with you can be really, really helpful, and kind of takes the pressure off of sort of that Monday through Friday, which can get really crazy. And I think the other piece of it is, as much as you can kind of structure things so that your week becomes less chaotic, is helpful. So one thing we do is, you know, Saturday is our day to just not have a schedule, run around as a family. On Sunday, it is sort of errand day, but I basically, like, for example, I don't like to cook during the week because I'm coming home from work, and last thing I want to do is jump into the kitchen. So on Sunday, we just pack and load up the fridge with meals for the week, whether it's, you know, we're buying pre-made things, or my husband and I are in the kitchen sort of making mass quantities of things. And the downside is, you know, the kids are eating food that isn't freshly made, but it's microwaved. But I think it's worth it because, you know, I'm coming home and I can just enjoy the meal with my family and not worry about the prep work. And so I think it's little tweaks like that. If you think about what's the thing day to day that you just sort of don't enjoy doing from a task perspective, and how can you change the structure around it so you can really enjoy the time with your kids.
You know what? That's such a great tip. I love the Saturday, because in my book, Help My Toddler Came Without Instructions, I have a whole chapter of activities to do with the toddlers. And one of them is let them stay in their pajamas. Take them to the park in their pajamas, or let them go outside and have a picnic if you have a backyard, and have a breakfast picnic in your pajamas. Because you know what? Everything is such rush, push during the week. And if microwave meals, if cooking on Sunday for the week works, there's no right answer. It's about being together, and your kids grow up so quickly.
Yeah, there's a book that I love called Free Range Kids, and it talks a lot about, and I hate to sound the way my parents did of when I was growing up, but when I was growing up, I would leave the house, run around with our neighbors' kids all over the neighborhood, and come home at sundown, and that doesn't really exist today, and I don't know if we'll ever get back to that. But as much as you can kind of give your child glimpses of what that feels like, I think that's really important. And I live in the Bay Area where there is so much, and this is sort of all over the country, but I think in pockets of the Bay Area you see it a lot. It's just kids are so overscheduled with activities every moment of the day, and you feel a lot of pressure because all the other kids are in this soccer camp and this class and cooking class and art school, and they're 3 years old. And so parenting has changed so much. And some of that stuff is great, but it really has to be balanced because you're going to spend the rest of your adult life on a schedule. And so childhood is that one period of life where, you shouldn't have to grapple with that every day.
That tip is priceless because it's true, the overscheduling, and sometimes I wonder, how much of it are the kids wanting to do the activities, or is it, I have to say it, is it the parents? We all are competing against, you want your child where their friends are, but maybe they're not so hot at soccer. Maybe they're good at something else that they'd be happier with. It's really interesting because there was an article in the New York Times, which I'll share more in depth in another show, but it was talking about the black mother, and one of the things that the article pointed out was, is it our job to make sure our children are happy, or is it our job to teach our children how to live in society, and then they're happy because they have the boundaries and they know what to expect? What do you think?
Yeah, I think the most important skill that kids learn early on is around navigating social dynamics and having social confidence. And when there's so much structure in your day and you're sort of in classes all day and you're 2 or 3 years old, you're not able to learn that in a way that feels organic, right? Because you always have a teacher or an adult sort of intervening at every activity. And so I think that free playtime is when you really learn, like if a kid, snatches my toy away from me, what do I do? Or, if I'm feeling lost and uncomfortable, or a kid is sort of in my space, how do I react? And you have to have some time and space to kind of learn those skills in a very organic and natural way that's outside of a classroom or outside of a formal activity. And so, I think you will always have time when you're a little older to maybe learn how to play basketball a little better or, draw the best stick figure you can, right? But that window of time when you're young to really hone some of those social skills in a way that feels natural and that you feel confident about, that's what I think a lot of kids, could be spending their time really learning and feeling comfortable with when they're younger.
Also, you know what? It doesn't have to cost a lot. I mean, these new toys, let's face it, we have 1.5-year-olds on the iPad, and there's pros and cons. It's good and bad. You know what? There's some great apps out there to help kids learn. But when we start using some of the technology because we're busy, that's when you have to stop and think, what, should I be on the floor building blocks, or should my child be, looking at this video? I mean, it's tough to balance because we're all so busy, but it doesn't have to be that expensive. You don't have to buy every single, toy out there that's like, if you start out buying something that's $50, what do you do for the encore when your child's only 2?
And, we all know that you buy your kid all these things and, 2 weeks later they've moved on to the next toy. And again, it's this, like you're kind of teaching habits really early on. And I think, if you keep buying toys, like everything your kid asks for, what you're teaching them is that they get everything that they ask for. And the world really does not work that way. And so, and in the end, at least with my son, he's now 4 years old, he ends up playing with the same thing regardless of what I buy him. And so, there's this aspect of it that's just very, very wasteful, and sort of teaching your kids sort of immediate gratification is problematic, right? And will lead to all other types of issues down the line. And so, I think limiting the quantity of toys and learning how to say no to your kid is really important. And the technology piece, I think, has been challenging for parents because it's new territory. Like, none of us grew up with iPads and iPhones, and it's hard to know, 10, 15 years down the line, what about it is good and what about it is bad. I think there are a lot of great educational apps for kids to use. But again, as you said, I think creating, that is one place where I think creating some structure on it makes sense, where you say, okay, this is the 30 minutes today where you can play one of these 3 or 4 things, and then we're going to go outside and play. And I think the tough thing is there's a lot of creep on the technology time end, because you can hand your kid an iPad and they're totally preoccupied, and you can sort of do all the things that you need to do, and next thing you know, an hour and a half has gone by. And so I think, as a parent, just being very cognizant of that is very helpful.
You know what? It's so true, because it doesn't take a lot to do something with your child. You talk about make a macaroni art. I always like to have my kids take pasta and make a picture with it. And it's really simple to take the macaroni, get a glue stick, and give them some paper. Kids love to create things because it's wonderful for their self-esteem. It's great for creative play. And, I set up a lot of infant and toddler rooms in preschools, and I know that when I walk down the hallway of a school, if the pictures have a face where the eyes, nose, and mouth are perfect, I know the child didn't do it.
Yeah.
I know they had some help. And, when you do something, let your child do some kind of creative play, that's the word. It's creative. And if the nose is, down where the legs are, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. It's they need to learn how to sort of express themselves and, not think of those things as mistakes. It's sort of the way they look at the world. And I think it's, at that young age, just developmentally appropriate for them to be experimenting and drawing things and making things in a way that look very imperfect. And so, that's, I think, part of embracing the chaos, is also saying a lot of the things that our kids are doing, they're not going to look great. They're not going to be perfect. They're not going to be well organized. But that's really how they learn.
Oh, it is. And, we've heard for years, don't ever ask a child when they do a picture, what is that? Ask, say, tell me about your picture. Don't ask them. Because when you say, what is that, and they tell you what, you can't go, well, it doesn't look like that. I mean, you don't want to do that. You want to let them create however they can. And, I don't know if you know this tip, but it was always one of my favorite. If you have white macaroni, you can put it in a Ziploc bag and shake a couple drops of food coloring in it and shake it up, and then put it on a paper plate to dry, and you have colored macaroni.
Yeah, that's a great tip. And again, some of the most fun activities cost almost nothing.
You're right. And spring is here. I mean, let's talk about planting something. Maybe you don't want to plant an entire vegetable garden, but a small tomato plant, or even, a flower that's already in a small little vase, and you make that your child's, and you teach them how to water it every couple of days, and you watch it grow. I love planting basil. It really grows great, and then you can let your child help you cook with it. Anyway, it's not a cooking show, and it's not an art show, and here comes the music, so we will be right back.
We'll be right back with more Help My Baby Came Without Instructions. It's Baby and Toddler Instructions with Blythe Lipman on TogiNet. We'll be right back right after these. If you're ready for a big change in your work, your career, your happiness, your life, it's time for the $1 Million Mindset with Marla Tabaka. Monday afternoons at 2, 1 Central on TogiNet.com. Marla believes that with the right mindset, anything is possible. Join us as successful life coach Marla Tabaka inspires you and her clients to explore, discover, and live your dreams by developing what she calls the $1 Million Mindset. Marla will inspire you to take action on your dreams and reveal secrets to success that will help you realize your own unique power. Tune into the $1 Million Mindset for heartwarming stories with Marla Tabaka. Learn tips and tricks to building a successful business and unlock the secrets to creating a happier, more balanced life through abundant thinking and attraction power. For more information on the $1 Million Mindset, go to our website, marlatabaka.com. That's MarlaTabaka.com. It's the $1 Million Mindset with Marla Tabaka. Monday afternoons at 2, 1 p.m. Central on TogiNet.com.
Great Reaching out from the heartland of the United States with quality programming, this is TogiNet Radio.
Welcome back to Baby and Toddler Instructions with Blythe Lipman on TogiNet, the hour for all moms with little ones to come for great advice, encouragement, and great ideas for all new parents. Now, back to the show with Blythe Lipman.
Well, welcome back to Baby and Toddler Instructions. I cannot believe we are up to our last quarter of the show. My guest is the wonderful Jennifer Chung, and we are talking about positive parenting, how to deal with the chaos of parenting and embrace each day and your kids. And before we go any further with our discussion, tell my listeners where they can find you and KinSights.
Sure. So you can find us on kinsights.com. It's KINSIGHTS.com. We're free for any parent. We're also on Facebook at facebook.com/kinsights or at kinsights on Twitter. But I'd encourage you to sign up and join the community, create a health record, and ask a question.
Well, I am definitely going to share that with my daughter when I end the show today because she can be ahead of the game.
That'd be great. We'd love that.
Before the break, we were talking about, doing things with your children, and it doesn't have to cost money. Let's talk a little bit about doing things as a family. It's simple to volunteer, and what great things there are if you want to volunteer and give back.
Yeah, I think volunteering is one of the best activities you can do together as a family because it's great sort of family bonding time, and doing it early, it's a great way to teach your kids that giving back is sort of part of life. And I think there's some sort of structured things you can do, right? You can volunteer to soup kitchen or a homeless shelter. I think another activity that I love doing as a family is visiting a nursing home. I didn't actually grow up with any grandparents, and some kids don't get early exposure to older people. And I think, being in a nursing home and hearing the stories of our senior citizens is so important for kids. So I think that's a great activity. But I also think that there are things that families can do that are sort of built into day-to-day life, whether it's every quarter, my son and I go through all of his clothes, and we organize the clothes that we're going to donate, put them in bags, and we go together to Goodwill to drop them off. We do the same thing with his toys, especially before the holidays. So it's a way to kind of create a habit around giving back, and again teaches him that there doesn't have to be a ton of structure around it, or it doesn't have to be organized. You can actually live day to day in a way that you're giving back to the community. But I'm a big animal lover, and so I think another great way, again, to teach your child to care for others is volunteer at your local animal shelter. Something else that a lot of families do in the Bay Area is that you can actually certify, if you already have a pet, get your pet certified to be a therapy dog and go with your pet to visit hospitals and schools. And again, it's a great way to help people, but also to work as a family with your animal. You can also foster animals in your home. And then, I see a lot of families, even if there's a homeless person that lives, in their local city that, they see day to day, just buying a meal and giving it to that person and doing that with your child shows that sort of day-to-day compassion doesn't take a lot of effort and scheduling, but it can be part of the way you live sort of day-to-day.
And you're sharing such great messages, and it's interesting because your son is 4. As he gets older, you'll see having children in their 30s, so many times they'll do something and, you'll say, I'm never going to do what my mother did, or, when they get angry. And it's interesting to see because you don't really know what they're going to keep as they get older, and you'll see so many things and you just smile. You just think, I was such a good parent and we had so much fun. Yes, it was stressful sometimes. You know what? It's not always easy. But the important messages like volunteering is just so fabulous. I just want to know, though, when you volunteer at the animal shelter with your 4-year-old, how do you not bring like 10 dogs home?
It's virtually impossible.
I would want to bring them all home.
Yeah, that's the challenging piece of it. And they actually have some programs where you can, go and walk dogs, or you can, some of the older dogs, you can actually take them, to work with you or bring them home for a day a week, or even fostering an animal. So, it doesn't have to be, a permanent fixture in your home, but you can foster an animal until it's ready to be adopted. Another great program is a lot of shelters have these sort of elder dogs that are, they have maybe another year or two left, and you can bring them home and really help them have a great rest of their life. And again, so it's less about let's bring home the cute puppy, but let's bring home an animal that really needs a home for a few years.
And they all love you. It doesn't matter how old they are. If the dogs are 10 years old, 12 years old, it doesn't matter. You know what? There's nothing like a pet. We're animal lovers, so we could probably go on for an hour.
This could be a whole other show.
Yes, this could be another great show. It's interesting, too, because I decided many, many years ago before I had my children that I was going to be a dog breeder, and I had Yorkies, and I did it once. And my dog had 3 puppies, and all I can tell you is when your dog has puppies, you are not supposed to pick them up immediately. You're supposed to let the mother bond and feed them. And all I can remember is I touched the dogs. The mother wouldn't feed the dogs. She thought, you're the mother. You might as well feed them. You're touching them. And I used to have to sit with her with wheat thins and feed her so she'd sit still so she would nurse her puppies. And I kept one, and when I sold the other 2, I bawled like a baby. I could not stop crying. I never did it again. I just couldn't do it. It was like giving my children away.
That's so funny. Yeah, I mean, they really are like little children, like we have a dog that we got as soon as we got married, and she is in many ways like our first kid, and her and my son have this amazing bond, and I love that he's been able to grow up with her.
And it does. If you can handle a dog when you have a child, it doesn't have to be the minute you come home with your baby. There's nothing better for teaching responsibility and self-esteem to teach your child how to fill up maybe the water bowl or take them for a walk in the yard or whatever it is. It's another great way to teach responsibility, but also there's so much love in it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So do you have a favorite parenting tip?
I think the best parenting tip, and I've heard this from multiple sources, and it's pretty simple, is really like to not hesitate to ask for help. I think you feel a lot of pressure as a parent to be able to do it all, and it's truly not possible. And, we live in a very different world than often our parents did, where you have your whole extended family. And, my parents were immigrants from Korea, where families actually lived in houses together, and they had many generations. And so when you had a kid, you had this true built-in support network. And, most of us don't have that. And so, often you'll have friends or a neighbor or, my sister saying, let me know anytime you need help. And I would often hesitate to ask for that because I felt bad or that I was putting somebody out. But there are people who love kids and love babies, and they genuinely want to help. And it can just give you so much breathing room as a parent, whether you're a new parent or you have a toddler or a kid in junior high. And I think that that holds true especially for your partner and your spouse. Like, they can't read your mind on that you're tired and what you need, and as much as you'd hope that they would always be proactive, that's just not always going to be the case. And so, I got in the habit very, very early on about really letting my husband know when I needed extra support, when I needed help, when I needed him to take over. We both work, and so we split up our weeks pretty equally where, there are certain days of the week that he is home, at the end of the day to get dinner ready and to be with my son. And then there are days that I'm home, and so that I don't have to be sort of the default parent all the time, that we really try to share that equally. And that came about through a lot of conversations about how do we structure our weeks and our lives day to day so that we can really, really share responsibility as parents. And so I think not being afraid to have those conversations is really important.
That's such a great tip. And I would love to say, start talking about it when you're pregnant. Don't wait until the baby's there. Yeah, it is going to change. You can set all kinds of things up, and once the baby comes, lots of things do change. But it's great to talk about it before the baby arrives and then figure it out. And, if something has to change, what you said, it's so important to talk about it and not be afraid. I don't know. There was a commercial many years ago about doing it all. You saw the mom. It was some song. And, we don't have to be super moms and super dads. Like you said, it's hard to do everything yourself. You can't.
Yeah, it's impossible. And I think there's the challenge is sometimes if you end up doing everything but you're not enjoying the process, or you feel resentful that you're doing everything, it's really not great for anybody, right? And so I'd rather not do everything but enjoy the things I do. And so I think that's the trade-off of saying I'm going to tackle all of it and not ask for help, is that you may enjoy the process a lot less.
Not only that, like you said before, children pick up on what we feel. And you know what? When you're grumpy or you're resentful and you're trying to hide it, forget it. You're not going to hide that resentment. You know, you may put the plate down a little harder than you meant to, or they know. Children know anyway. So enjoy every minute of what you're doing. We're coming up to the end of the show, and I am so excited you could be on here today. We'll have to plan that show about volunteering at the pet.
I would love that.
The pet places. You know, thank you so much. Have a wonderful Mother's Day. And I'd love to have you on again. And all your information will be on mybestparentingadvice.com. So I will talk to you again soon. Have a great Wednesday.
Thanks so much, and good luck with your new grandkid on the way.
Oh, thank you. I'll be on the site typing.
Okay, take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye. Wow, what a great guest. You know what? We always learn so much from everybody. I love having my guests on. You can never stop learning. So next week, my guest will be Will Regan. With summer almost here, family trips are going to be a reality soon enough, as we all know. And he's going to talk about his wonderful travel headdress for your little ones, and also share some amazing tips to make your journeys a blast. This headdress is really cool. You know how your children's head bob? They're in the back seat, and it's bobbing back and forth, and they wake themselves up. And anyway, Will is going to talk all about this headdress. It's really a neat little thing. So put it on your calendar. Every Wednesday, 11 o'clock Eastern on TogiNet.com. And don't forget to like my pages on Facebook, Baby Instructions and My Best Parenting Advice. I'm also on Twitter and Pinterest and Google Plus and LinkedIn. And, you know, go to mybestparentingadvice.com. I update it all the time. Check out the recalls, and you can always contact me. And my books, Help My Baby Came Without Instructions, More Help, and Help My Toddler Came Without Instructions. Make some great gifts for this time of the year. All those new babies are coming out. So, you know what? Makes a great gift. And you can always contact me. I do consults. I do in-home if you live in Arizona near me. And I do video, and I do telephone consultations. So you can call my office at 480-510-1453. So with Mother's Day coming this Sunday, I would like to leave you with this little ditty. For all the diapers that you changed, for all the play dates you arranged, for all the trips back and forth to school, for cleaning all the spit up and the drool. Why is there only one Mother's Day? You could have at least gotten the entire month of May. I just love that. You know what? I want to wish you all a wonderful Mother's Day, a wonderful Sunday. Do something great with your kids. Do something great with your family. And just take some time, as Jennifer Chung said, to just enjoy. And don't be afraid to ask for help. You know what? You can't do it all. And make sure everybody celebrates Mother's Day, because mothers are special. You know, mothers hold their children's hands for a short while, but we hold our children's hearts forever. Have a great rest of your week. Happy Mother's Day, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.